My name is Jess. I am non-binary and Asian, which means I am very young. You don't believe me. That's okay. I know it's true, guys. I'm from San Francisco originally. And if you've been to San Francisco, if you've been to the Bay Area, you probably know it's really changed a lot. You know, tech and gentrification have really taken over. It was too much for me to handle. I had to move here to gentrify someone else's city. But I do live in Queens, in an Asian neighborhood. And I do find that being a queer Asian American gentrifier is a little bit different from being, for example, a non-black gentrifier in a black neighborhood in Brooklyn. Like when I walk down the street, the locals don't think, oh, everything's changing. They think, whose embarrassing grandchild is this? Go back inside, your family doesn't want you to be seen like this. It's disrespectful. I used to work at a sex shop. This is true. I used to work at an upscale, gender-inclusive, luxury, like fresh flowers and chandeliers sex shop on the Upper East Side, which was awkward, you know, because the people of the Upper East Side tended to think they didn't need the things we sold because they already had sticks up their asses. Yes, I used to think of myself as the Apple genius of sex toys. Like, people would call the store and be like, something's wrong with my vibrator. It's making a weird noise. And I'd be like, just bring it in. We'll troubleshoot it. Got it. And now I no longer work at a luxury boutique sex shop, which means I'm just an average civilian with a wealth of extremely specialized knowledge that is not useful outside of that context. For example, recently I was in San Francisco, where I'm from, and my father and sister found themselves trapped in the car with me while I explained to them in great detail the dangers of garlic clove anal suppository, So the reason for that is, science lesson real quick. The reason for that is you actually have two sphincters in your butt. There is the one that you know about, which you can control. And then 3 to 5 inches up, there's actually another one, which you have no control over, which is for holding everything in, which is great because it keeps you from pooping your pants all the time. This is good. You guys are listening. This might save you someday. You have no control over it. So if you put something small and unflared without a base, such as a garlic clove, into your butt, there's a good chance your body is going to it right up. And then that's a story you have to ask your friends not to put on their Instagram story. Anyway, this is getting long-winded. The point that I'm trying to make is you can take the kid out of the sex shop, but you can't take the garlic clove out of your butt. That's stupid. Another funny thing about all this is that after I came back from my trip, I'd been gone for 2 weeks, all the way on the other side of the country, came back to my apartment in Queens, pulled back the sheets on my bed, and found a dildo that didn't belong to me. It's true. And at this point, I don't even have it in me to feel disgusted or even surprised. I was just like, well, this is the path that I've chosen. This is God's plan for me. It turns out it belonged to my best friend, who's a queer man, who'd been visiting me before I left on my trip and forgot his dildo in my things, as you do with family. But before I found out who it belonged to, I was like, oh, this is like a modern-day Cinderella story. I have to take this dildo to every eligible lady in the kingdom to find the perfect fit.